Hey crochet friends, in this video I'm going to share with you how I made this Valentine's Be Mine beanie. Alright, so to make your beanie you only need to know how to make single crochets in the back loop only for your brim. These are puff stitches put together to look like hearts, and the crown of the beanie is made up of half double crochets and decreases to help round the top out. I used a size 7 or 4.5 millimeter hook, and I used Red Heart Super Saver yarn for this particular beanie. I think any 4-weight yarn will work fine. The red I used is Cherry Red. The pink is Perfect Pink, and Soft White for the top of the hat. All right, so to begin, we're going to create our brim. Now you can, if you prefer the brim to be a little tighter and to hold its shape and be a little more stretchy, use a slip stitch instead of the single crochet. This just comes along a lot quicker, so I am going to use the single crochet into the back loop only method. So to begin, you'll need to make a slip knot and place the yarn over on your hook, and we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so we're going to turn our chain over and place our first single crochet into the second chain from our hook. Here's 1, here's 2. We're turning our yarn over, and I'm going to place my hook into the back bump of my chain. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull my hook through both loops that were on my hook. Placing my hook into the bump, yarn over, pull the yarn through that bump. 2 loops are on my hook, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on my hook. So I'm going to do this all the way down, and I will have 8 single crochets along my chain. All right, once I've got the 8th single crochet, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. We're going to be placing now single crochets into the back loop only of our stitches. So when you look at your stitches from the top, you'll see these little V's. Our stitches from here out to make our brim are going to all be placed into the back loops of these V's, or the loop that's behind or facing away from you. So I'll place my hook into this first stitch, yarn over, whoop, pull it through, yarn over, pull through, and that's my first stitch. Let me see if I can find my stitch markers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to place a stitch marker here. That's going to help me identify that first stitch. Now I'll place my hook into the second stitch and do a single crochet, and I'm going to continue this all the way down to the end, making sure that I have 8 single crochets. Okay, and to count your stitches to make sure that you have 8, The first one is the one with our stitch marker. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. After your 8th single crochet, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. When you turn your work, make sure that you're consistently turning it in the same direction each time, okay? So you'll notice that I turn my work this way, like I'm turning a page in a book. You'll hear that a lot of crocheters use that term to help them remember which way to turn. It really doesn't make a difference which way you turn it as long as you stay consistent with each turn. Okay, so again, I've made my chain. I'm coming down into my first stitch, grabbing that back loop and pulling my hook through. Now I'll place a stitch marker here as well so that I can identify those last stitches. So you're going to continue this until your brim is between 16 and 17 inches long. The hat that I made here, I ended up making 66 rows. So you can make it as long as you like so that it fits around the head of the person that you're making the hat for. I'm just giving you that 66 number as a reference. It fits my head, and I have about an average adult size head. Okay, so I am going to get back with you once my brim is that 66 stitches long and about 16 to 17 inches in length, okay? So I will get back with you shortly. Okay, so I have just completed 66 rows and I am right about 16 inches long for my brim. When you get to the end, we've chained 1. Now what we need to do are bring our ends together, and we're going to slip stitch them closed. So to do that, you'll take your hook, place it under both loops of the V closest to you, and then under the back loop of the one farthest away from you. We're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through and then through, whoopsie, there we go, the loop that was on your hook. Okay, so we're going to take our hook, place it under both V's and then the back loop of the one farthest from you and slip stitch. Okay, so we'll chain 1 and then turn our work so that the seam is on the inside. We'll worry about this tail when we're done here. Okay, so once you've joined your brim, we want to create a row of single crochets around the brim so that we have a nice even foundation to place our puff stitches in. So I made my brim 66 stitches long. You want to, if you can, make your brim stitches in multiples of 3 so that it's easier to go ahead and place our puff stitches in for our round 2. So this is easy because 66 is a multiple of 3. If you end up with an odd number for the length of your brim, just place your single crochets in a multiple of 3. You can double up if you need to. So what I need to do is make sure that I have 66 single crochets all the way around, coming back to my beginning chain or beginning stitch. So I'll place my first single crochet here and I'll put a stitch marker in just so that we can identify it coming back. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I'm doing to place mine is, if you can pull your stitches apart, I have a space here and then a space right here that I'm placing my single crochets in. I'm kind of skipping this little knotted up area here and then placing 2, 1, 2, skipping the knotted area, 1, 2. And so that should yield me 66 single crochets by the time I come back around to my stitch marker. All right, so you go ahead and do that as well. Just try to get them spaced out evenly. And I'll meet you when we come back to the beginning. Just make sure that you end with a single crochet count that's a multiple of 3. Okie dokie. So what I want to do now is I'm going to count my single crochets around just to make sure that I have a multiple of 3, because that's going to be important when we make our puff stitches. One other thing I should have mentioned earlier is how to count your rows in your brim. You can see that there's peaks that are developed. Every peak is 2 stitches. You've got 1 on either side of it. So you can count by peaks 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 to make sure that you know how many rows you have. Now, if you want to make your hat larger or smaller, again, this isn't as important as knowing that the number of knowing that the number of single crochets across the top are a multiple of 3. You can always double up or whatever you need to do. Just space them out evenly. You can place a stitch marker on either side of your brim and make sure that you have the same number on one side as the other, just to kind of make sure things are spaced out. So I'm going to count before I finish here, because I might need to add or take one away to make sure that I have 66. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 66. Okay, so that was my 66th. So I'm going to join this stitch and my first stitch of this row with a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. So what I want to do now is start with my puff stitches. The puff stitch is pretty simple. We're going to be placing it right back into this space that our chain is coming out of. We're going to wrap the yarn around our hook, place it into that stitch, yarn over and pull it through. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to do that one more time, and then a third time. Now you should have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7 and close it with a chain. Now we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and go into the third stitch from this one. Yarn over, place it into that third stitch, pull it through, and you want to bring your hook so that it's even, okay? You want this tall enough so that you end up getting enough yarn to puff some, okay? So just kind of tug it so that you have your hook laying evenly across. Yarn over, go in again. It's 2 times and a third time. Yarn over, pull through all 7 loops on your hook and close it with a chain. Now we're going to place another puff stitch into this space so that these will look like little hearts here. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do the same thing again, going in and out of that very same stitch. It's 3 times that you're going in and out, yarn over, pull through, close with a chain. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and go into the third. Yarn over into, pull it up nice and tall, go in a second time. This uses a lot of yarn, sorry, I'm going to keep reaching over. And a third time. Yarn over, pull through all of the loops, close with a chain, and we're going right back in again. Yarn over, in, pull through, yarn over, in, pull through, yarn over, in, and pull through. Pull through all, close. Okay, so you can see how they're forming little hearts. 1, 2, we're skipping into the third. Okay, so that's that. We're going to continue this all the way around until we come back to where this looks like a half of a heart. We're going to place our last puff stitch right next to where we came out of here and close, okay? So I will continue around and meet you back here. So I am back around at where I began. I have 2 spaces left. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to come right next to where these stitches came out, okay? So I'm going to put it in the same space. There's yarn over once, yarn over twice, and 3 times. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything, chain 1. All right, so now what I need to do is join to the top of my puff stitch. You can see it right here. It's a little bit wider of my V. I'm going to take my hook and slip stitch at the top of my puff stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we've just completed, this would be row 2. Row 1 was our single crochet row. This is row 2. Now we're going to do row 3. Now you can change the configuration of colors for your hat. You can make it all one color if you like, but this is just the way I wound up doing this one. That's the back side. I'm going to go ahead then and do 2 rows of red. So this would be row 1, 2, 3. So now we are on row 3. So we're going to place our next puff stitch. If you can kind of open up your V here, you'll see where you're going to have, where you made your chain space. You're going to be placing your stitches in this chain space on each of your puff stitches. So I'll be going right here into this space with my next puff stitch. So I'm yarning over, going into that space, my chain space once, 2 times, 3 times, kind of evening up my yarn here, yarn over, pulling through, chain 1. And this is my half stitch, remember, because we're going to come around and then put our last stitch here. So I'm placing my next puff stitch into the chain space in the following one. I'm just going right like this. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Just kind of always tugging to keep your stitches somewhat even. Okay, and we'll place our second puff in the same space. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, pull through everything, and chain to close. So that's it, okay? I'm going to continue placing my puffs into the chain space of the puff below, and I will meet you when we come to the beginning here, okay? Okay, so I'll show you again how to place this last stitch, this last puff stitch. We're going to yarn over and go into the same space now that this half puff stitch is coming out of. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, chain to close, and I'm going to the top stitch to place my slip stitch to join. Now, this is where, if you want to start a pink row, we're going to change colors. If you want to keep your hat all one color, or if you want to change the number of rows for each color, that's just fine. I'm going to go ahead and switch colors now so I can show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is place our hook as though we're going to do a slip stitch with the red, but I'm going to pull my red to the back and I'm going to bring in the pink here. Okay, and I'm going to place it over my hook and I'm going to draw that pink through and make the slip stitch with my pink. Okay, at this point I'm going to turn my yarn over, or my hat over, and I'm going to pull my ends together and make a knot. And then I'm going to cut my red. You could have cut this beforehand. This is my habit, but you'll tie your knot with the end of your red and the end of your pink here. And that's going to go in the back, and at the end of our work here, we'll go back and weave those ends in. Okay, so I've made my slip stitch with my new color. If you're changing colors, I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and I'm going to place another puff stitch into my chain space here. Okay, so I'll yarn over, go in once, twice, 3 times. I'm going to tug to get my yarn even across and pull through, close with a chain. And now I'm just going to continue on just like we did in the previous row, placing my puff stitches into the chain spaces of the work below. And I lost count talking how many times I yarned over. Let me try that again. All right. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. That looks more like it. Chain and into my space. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but there's some random sounds in the background. I should probably explain. I have lots of pets. I am in the room that has my tortoise table. I have 2 baby Herman's tortoises, and they are pretty active this afternoon, so that scratching sound that you might hear is them exploring their tortoise table. Oh, my hands here are starting to heal a little bit. If you follow my channel, you know that I have rescued a baby squirrel recently, and his little nails are like little razors at the end of his fingers. His name is Petey, but I swear I should have called him Edward, like in Edward Scissorhands, because I am just terribly scratched up. I'm getting better. He's getting better at learning how to play with each other without me getting scratched. I was going to say getting hurt, but he's not getting hurt. I am. So anyway, sorry, random again. So I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of pink. I'm going to change colors at the end of those 4 rows to white. I will get back with you when it's time to change to the white, because this is where we're going to start the decreases after 1 row of the puff stitches here. Alrighty, so I will catch up with you. That would be row, let's see, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll go through row 7 here, and we'll catch up here for row 8, okay? Okay, so let me try this one more time. I just finished filming, finishing off this round, and for whatever reason, my camera didn't function, so I'm going to try it again. I did already cut my pink tail here, so it might be kind of awkward, but what you need to do when you come to the beginning of your 1, 2, 3, 4th row of your pink is go ahead and place your last puff stitch into your space here, your first space, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to pull my yarn through. Okay, now what I want to do is switch, let me not forget my chain to close. I want to switch to white, and I'm going to do 1 row of white puff stitches. So what I'll do is place my hook into the top of my puff stitch here, and I'm going to bring the white in for my slip stitch. Okay, now I'm going to trim my yarn, turn my work over, and I'm going to tie a knot with my pink end and my white end. Okay, we'll trim those tails and weave them in at the end of our work here. Okay, so I've switched colors. Now I'm going to chain 1 and 2, and I'm going to continue making puff stitches around until I come back. I only want 1 row around of puff stitches in the white because after that we're going to start with our decreases here. So 1, 2, and 3, chain, 1, 2, 3, and chain. Okay, so I will meet you when we come back around to end our round of white. All right, so I just completed round 8. Now I want to start on rounds 9 through 14. Each of these rounds is going to be a decrease round. So I've joined with a slip stitch here, and I'm going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is place 5 half double crochets into each stitch along, and then in the 6th stitch we're going to place a half double crochet decrease. So let me show you how we do that. Yarn over, place our hook into the stitch below, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through those 3 loops. That's a half double crochet. We're going to make 5 of them. That was 1, 2, this into the chain space can sometimes be tricky. You just want to get your hook under the V that's here and leave the loop below the back bump. If that is too tedious for you, you can just make your half double crochet around the chain stitch. I just kind of prefer to put mine right into this one. So this yarn is a little splitty. I don't know why, but it does want to split on me. So let me see, how many did we do now? Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've got my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half double crochets. Now we're going to make a decrease. A decrease is essentially taking 2 stitches and putting them into 1. So we're going to yarn over, pick up this stitch, yarn over and pick up the next stitch. So we're placing 2 into 1. Okay, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5. So that was our half double crochet decrease. Now we're just going to repeat with 5 half double crochets. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our next stitch is a decrease. Yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over and go into the next stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. Go into one stitch, yarn over, go into the next. So we're just kind of doing an incomplete half double crochet, doing another, and now we'll pull through like that. Okay, so we're going to continue that, just repeating 5 half double crochets, then a decrease until we get to the end here. The plan, and I've written it out on paper because I find it easier to keep track, and you may as well, is I've written out my last rows, and you're essentially going to be doing one less half double crochet for each round with your decrease until you get to round 14, okay? So we're on 9. I will meet you when we're ready to begin 10. Okay, when I get to the end here, I'm going to join to the top of my first half double crochet and chain 1. So that was round 9. Round 10, I'm going to be doing 4 half double crochets and a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and my decrease, going in, pulling through, yarning over, but then going in again, going in. Now I'll pull my yarn through, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Okay, I will meet you at the end and we'll begin round 11. All right, joining round 9. Oops, sorry, that was 10. See, this is why I write these things down. Just finished round 10. I joined with my slip stitch and chained 1. So let me mark off 10 here for myself. The next round is 11. I'll do 3 half double crochets and a decrease. All right, there's round 11. Round 12 will be 2 half double crochets and a decrease. Two half double crochets and a decrease. crease. Okay, I'll meet you back around. Okay, round 13, 1 half double crochet, 1 decrease. So we're just alternating our stitches here. You can see how our hat is starting to come together. It's closing in for the crown here. Okay, so we're alternating 1 half double crochet and then a decrease. Okay, joining round 13, chain 1. All right, so for round 14, we're just going to make half double crochet decreases completely all the way around, okay? So this is all decreases. Whoops, split my yarn. All right, so now I'm going to join here. And I'm going to make a long tail. I'm going to use my tail to help cinch up the top of my hat. I'm going to make it extra long because I'm not sure. I don't know whether I want to put a fluffy bomb like this or I might just make a pom-pom out of the yarn. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so anyway, give yourself a good long tail and then we'll pull our yarn through. We're going to use this tail to cinch up our hat. Alrighty, so I'm just pulling my end through. And now you'll need to use a darning needle to help close the top of your hat. Okay, so what I do to close the top of my hat here is I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to just kind of weave around like every other stitch. Just kind of like this. And then we're going to end up cinching it closed. So I'm just going around the top of my stitches here, kind of like under the V's and making a loop every other one. Okay, when I come around to the beginning, I'm just going to pull on the end and that's going to cinch up my hat. Okay. Now I'm going to bring my needle down the center because I want my end on the inside and I'm going to weave in all of my ends now. So just turn your hat inside out. Pull that tight. And I'm just going to start picking up little bits of the stitches here around the circle and kind of tug each time to kind of close that hole up. All right, just weave it round and round a few times so that your yarn is nice and snug there. Make yourself a little loop. Uh-oh, this is my phone, sorry guys. And pull a knot, okay? Let me get this. Okay, once you've tied your knot, I still like to sew in my end just a little bit more there. Can never be too secure. Okay, and then I'm gonna cut off that long tail. Now you'll go through and weave in these ends. Just make sure that when you weave in the colors, you are bringing your yarn down behind whatever color is here so that it won't be seen through the other side. Alrighty? Alright, so there it is. I am going to make a pom-pom for my hat. I'm going to make a yarn pom-pom. I'm going to use this pom-pom maker by Clover. It makes some really nice fluffy pom-poms. To do it is pretty easy. You just open up the maker 1/2 at a time, and you're going to wrap yarn around this little half circle here. You just have to be careful not to cross over or make it any fuller than this bar, this flat side here. So I just put my yarn in, and then you just start wrapping. Just wrap, 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 wrap all the way around. The more full you make this, the fluffier pom-pom's going to be. All right, I think that's good for that side. So you close down your side here, open up the other side. Let's trim this here. We're going to do the same thing on this side. I'll put a link in the description box below. I bought this, gosh, I think it was at Joann's. Can't be sure, but I'll put a link for one through Amazon in the description box below in case you're interested in ordering one of these. Now we close it. I'll trim it. So now what you have to do is hold the pom-pom maker together. Okay, we want to hold this nice and tight because we're going to start trimming. This has little guides here that you place your scissors, and you just make sure not to let go of your little device here. You want it to stay closed while you trim it. So trim, trim, trim. I'm thinking I should have gone a little thicker now that I'm looking at my thread coming off here, or yarn. Okay, keeping it closed, we're gonna again put our scissors in this little gap that they have for you. And you want to make sure you have nice sharp scissors for this. Okie doke. Now we're going to take, oh perfect, a piece of yarn, and we're going to place it in this little groove here. Whoop, I don't know if I'm not too much in the camera, am I? We're just going to put it right through here and around. Whoop. And you're going to pull real tight because we want to cinch this up super tight in the center, okay? So I've got my yarn wrapped around into that groove, and I'm going to pull tight, and it's going to bring my knot or the tie all the way to the center, and I'm pulling real tight, and I'm going to knot it. Okay, so we're good and secure, and now we open our sides. Or, yeah, let me do this, hold on. There we go. Once you have your sides open, this blue plastic just kind of pulls off of it. Okay, and there you have it. And after you've got your, see I left the long ends here. We're going to hold on to that. And you just kind of fluff it up, and some of the longer ends that I started with now you can trim. And you can kind of round up your pom-pom a little bit and even it up some. I have to be very careful with this part because I tend to get a little crazy with the trimming and end up with a much smaller pom-poms. Oh, I'm way off camera again. Gosh, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm just doing this on the fly here. There we go. So, anywho, just kind of trim it up, make it look nice and round. And you've got yourself your pom-pom, okay? All right, so now that you've got your pom-pom made and trimmed up, you can take the ends of your yarn and find the center of your top of your hat. Whoop, this pom-pom's kind of heavy here. And I'm going to pull through one end, and then I'm going to take the other strand and pull it through another place in the top of my hat. You don't want to go down the same hole or it won't be secure. All right, now I can turn my hat to the inside and get my two ends, and I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, and now you just take your ends and weave them in like we did with all of our other ends. So there she is. That is the Be Mine Valentine beanie. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a chance to make one. I know I really enjoyed coming up with the pattern. If you do make this hat, please let me know. Let me know how you liked it, how yours comes out. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, consider doing that. And I want to thank those who have subscribed to the channel. It is growing, and it just makes me very happy to know that people are enjoying the content. So thanks very much. And oh, don't forget to click the notification bell. That way you will know the next time I post a video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.